What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports, and before we get into tonight's Flyers loss against the Maple Leafs, the most important thing you can do is hit that subscribe button. I'll greatly appreciate that. So if you're a new viewer to the channel, definitely recommend hitting that sub button if you're interested in the latest Philadelphia sports recaps, news, updates, and events, whatever. It's a great time here. Definitely recommend subbing. Or if you're just a current subscriber, long-time subscriber, I think you're crazy for doing that, but I'm also grateful at the same time. Definitely reach out there, share it out there. Let's grow this channel together, get it over the 400 sub count, and move on from there. So getting into tonight's business, the Flyers fall to the Toronto Maple Leafs at home by a score of 3-0, getting shut out by Jack Campbell. And tonight's performance by the Flyers definitely was not their best. It was very sloppy. And really the only bright spot you can pull out of this game is Carter Hart was fantastic in this game. He was just super spectacular, keeping him in the entire way. He stops 30 out of 33 shots. And like I said, he was the only bright spot in this game. Maybe you can pick up a few players as well. Braun was good in this game. Ristolainen had another good game, solid second game in a row for him. But just overall, the play just wasn't there. The power play was absolutely dreadful tonight. The Maple Leafs were able to cash in on one of the power plays that they got late in this game. The Flyers had 4 power plays in this game, and they couldn't cash in on any. The first 2 power plays were god-awful, and then they elect to go back to the original power play setup with Yandel at the point, got JVR net front. Then you have Giroux, Couture, Konechny on the power play 1 unit, and just can't find a way to get pucks past Jack Campbell. And I don't think Jack Campbell was really that fantastic in this game. He just made the saves that he had them made, and really none of them were dangerous. A lot of shots were to the outside. He saw a lot of pucks, and really that's basically how it was. None of the chances for the Flyers in this game were dangerous. And it does feel like they're starting to outshoot their opponents, but they're scoring less and less. To where, looking at the beginning of the season, where they were scoring bunches and bunches and bunches, 5, 6 goals a game, we knew they weren't going to keep up that pace. That's really unrealistic and just unsustainable. But the past 6, 7 games, they're really only scoring at a 2, 3 goal a game pace. And that's not really what you want to see right now, because it's really just a struggle to score goals right now, and you're being forced to win these 2-1, these 1-goal games, 2-1, 3-2, 1-0 type of games, to where you're putting a lot of stress on your goaltender. But thank God your goaltending has been playing fantastic these past, basically the entire season, with Carter Hart and Martin Jones. So right now, I'm not too worried, but also a little bit worried at the same time, just because the pucks aren't going in for this team, because it felt like at the beginning of the season, every single puck they were doing was just going in, and they were getting good chances too. It's definitely nothing to where it was last season, where it felt like they were just throwing things at the net and they were going in. They were actually getting good chances at the beginning of the season, and they were cashing in on those good chances, but it feels like even when they get the good chances, they can't find a way to bury them. And it also is starting to feel like the absence of Kevin Hayes and Ryan Ellis is now starting to factor in. They're definitely missing those 2 guys. So hopefully they can eventually return to the lineup. They're going to reevaluate Ellis tomorrow in practice to see if he's going to take the road trip for this weekend back-to-back with Carolina and Dallas. I still find that to be a really weird back-to-back type of games, but that's what the schedule says. And just also speaking to the schedule in general, seriously, 3 days off before this game. I'm not saying that's the excuse for this game at all for why it was so sloppy. Maybe that can factor into it, but that's definitely not. But also, you can also throw in the argument that you had 3 days to prepare for this game. But then you also throw in the Maple Leafs in their last 6 games. They're 5-1. Yeah, they lost the last game to the Los Angeles Kings, but they have been a really hot team as of late. And same thing with Jack Campbell. He's been electric as of late. I think he was the 2nd star in the NHL last week. So, yeah, this Maple Leafs team was hot riding into this game. So it definitely was not going to be an easy matchup at all. I just wish the effort was better. It just felt like the communication wasn't there. The effort, I would say, it definitely wasn't as bad as, say, when they got shut out by Calgary a couple weeks ago. It definitely wasn't to that extent. There was effort there. They were showcasing it throughout this game. It was just the communication and the execution. It felt like it was more off than none. Passes weren't there. They couldn't make their stretch passes. They struggled to clear the zone. They were just making sloppy mistakes throughout the night. And that's basically what riddled them throughout this entire game, and they just couldn't bury the puck. None of the chances they really got were dangerous. I would say the most dangerous chance they got was probably maybe early in that first period, you got those shorthanded chances by Thompson that Couturier wasn't able to get the rebound there. Brown had a breakaway chance in that first period. He just couldn't find a way to put the puck into the net. So they had their share of chances, but just couldn't find a way to cash in. And I think that's basically the main summary of this game. But I'll also say in some positive news, not revolving around the team, revolving around myself, this was my second chance going back to last season. So I did a press game in the press box last year during the COVID season, even though it wasn't in the actual press box. It was in the standing room only section. Today was actually my first time being in the legitimate press box up there to watch this game. So, and yeah, great opportunity there. Thanking Jamie Bascal and the crew at Flyers Nitty Gritty for the opportunity. And there's definitely a lot more coming this season, discussing through the games that I've picked for them. So yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot more. Great experience to talk to some people, like especially a good friend of mine, Hunter Brody with BrodesMedia. Sat with him the entire game, had a good conversation, just talking there, enjoying hockey, and just going over Flyers. Sadly, they lost, though. Sadly, they lost, but hey. And also talking from the press conference as well from the players in Alain Vigneault. The major summary from that was basically, I would say, the power play as well. The power play seemed to throw off the momentum of the entire game, basically every power play they got. And yeah, I can see that. The power play was a major problem in this game. The first power play, okay, they got some setup chances, but really weren't able to sustain anything. The second power play was just god-awful at the end of the first period. They weren't able to generate any type of chances. Toronto felt like they generated more chances than the Flyers did, and the Flyers got booed off the ice in the first period. So even though it's 0-0 after one, there really wasn't that much to go through. It was really a back-and-forth game, but it did feel like Toronto controlled more of the pace. But like I said, you had those chances from Thompson shorthanded with the Couturier. Brown had that chance as well. But really, like I said, nothing really too dangerous. And then you go into the second period. You go there early on, and you get a power play as well. You get some chances. Claude Giroux had a nice feed to Travis Konechny that Campbell made a nice save for, but you go halfway into this period as well. You get a little bit of a chance in the offensive zone that goes the other way, and a very weird goal because you got a shot pass from Jake Muzzin that goes off of the skate of William Nylander and into the net. The ref instantly waves the goal off, saying that he kicked the puck in. He went to the crowd, went on the microphone, said this is not a goal because he kicked the puck in. There was a distinct kicking motion, but then they elected to go Toronto just to make sure that the call was right on the ice. And like when you're in the press box, you really couldn't tell what happened. It did kind of look like he did kick the puck in from basically eye view, from looking all the way up there. But then when you look at the various screens and TVs that they have up there, just looking at that replay, you can definitely see that the puck bounced off of Nylander's skate before he did any type of distinct kicking motion, and like it bounced off, and then like a split second after the puck went off of his skate, you see the skate come up, and basically that showcases I'm fine with the reverse call. I think it was a good goal, and I think that was the right call to make by the referees to reverse it. But like even I can see it any other way. I can see this call being reversed. I can see this call staying the same. But I do think they got the right call in reversing it. I think this was a good goal. I don't have any problems with it entirely. So it becomes a 1-0 lead for the Maple Leafs. And it kind of did feel that the Flyers got an extra jump after that goal because, you know, they had the review. Toronto didn't get really the face-off right after the goal was scored, so there really wasn't a chance for them to break their momentum. So the Flyers had their chances going the other way, but they just couldn't pot them in. Just couldn't. So you go into the second intermission down 1-0, and then basically you take a penalty in that second period, well, third period actually, and basically that's all she wrote there because just beautiful passing plays by Toronto, finds the stick of William Nylander, he snipes it by Carter Hart, makes it a 2-0 game. You got power play late, really can't cash in there. Claude Giroux takes a penalty at the end of that power play, and then at the end of the Toronto power play, just a nice pass from Kerfoot over the Kotcha, who's in the slot, puts it by Carter Hart, puts the icing on the cake, makes it a 3-0 game for Toronto, and that's how this game finishes by a score of 3-0. 3 stars of the game, William Nylander. First star, I have no idea why I butchered that name so badly. Second star, Jack Campbell. And third star, Carter Hart. Flyers had the edge in shots 36-33. 1 in faceoff percentage, went over 4 on the power play, and 2 for 3 on the penalty kill. Out hit the Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs blocked a lot more shots, and it just, I don't know. It just felt like I don't want to say the effort wasn't there, because there definitely was effort from the team tonight. It was just execution. Execution was the major problem in the power play too. The power play was a major problem in tonight's game, and that's something that really needs to be fixed. I'm not saying the power play is as atrocious as it was last year, but I really don't think they should have switched up something that was working at the beginning of the season, because it felt like when the power play was clicking, that's when they changed up the setup. When they put Provorov on, it's not a knock to Provorov. I don't think he's a guy that can quarterback a power play. That's just not his type of player. Like, for how skilled and talented that Provorov is, it just feels like the power play, quarterbacking it, isn't his strength. He kind of feels like he is better along the left wall. So I really don't understand why we went back to the original way of Provorov manning the point on power play 1. It just didn't look like it was going to work from the get-go. So, and like I said, it's not a knock on Provorov. It's just that's not his strength. And you probably shouldn't be putting players where their strengths are not. And Yandel manned the point there. That's what was working. So I don't know why they changed it. And then you go back to power play 2, and they switched these up during the game. So you went back to the original power play 1 setup, and then you go back to the original power play 2 setup. Even though you don't have Ellis, you have Sanheim instead of him. But I just don't understand why they changed something that wasn't not working. I guess you can say it like that. Or I don't even know how I'm talking. At this point, my brain is scrambled. I'm tired from the press box being up there all day. It was a long night, but it was just one of those games, I guess you can describe it as, but the effort needs to be better. The communication, the execution needs to be better. This team needs to start scoring goals, and their schedule is not going to get any easier coming up, because you got Carolina, who's been outstanding to start this season. Frederik Andersen, ironically, has been really good this year too. It's weird too, because you have Jack Campbell playing amazing for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Frederik Andersen, who used to be a Maple Leaf, is playing amazing for the Carolina Hurricanes. So it's just like, yeah, that's weird. It's just weird to see that, and really ironic, I guess. But Carolina is a very tough opponent, and the Flyers are going to have their money where their mouths is coming into this game. You need to start scoring. You got Carolina on Friday. You got Dallas on Saturday. And Dallas isn't the best team, but they still got really good goaltending. So you got to be ready for that game as well. And then you have a lot of tough matchups in the next following weeks as well. You got Calgary on Tuesday, who you recently got shut out by. You got Tampa Bay at home on the 18th. You got Boston at home on the 20th. Then you'll have a back-to-back the Tuesday and Wednesday before Thanksgiving against Tampa Bay and Florida. Then you have a Black Friday game against Carolina. And then you have a Sunday matchup against the New Jersey Devils. And the Devils, they're probably the weakest team on the schedule, and they're not a bad team. Then you wrap up the month with a back-to-back against the Islanders and the Rangers. The Rangers start December, but still, the back-to-back between the two New York teams. So this schedule's not going to get any easier. And, I like to say, I'd rather get the struggles out early in the schedule, but the scoring is kind of being worrisome, and who knows, maybe you see Alain Vigneault shift the lines up a little bit over the next course of games, maybe just to find some chemistry somewhere before Kevin Hayes comes back into the lineup, because it does sound like that if everything does go well, the earliest he can come into the lineup is next Tuesday against Calgary, but I'm not going to bet on that. So we're just going to have to wait and see there. And the same thing with Ryan Ellis. They're going to check him tomorrow, see if he's fit to go on the road trip to Carolina and Dallas, and they'll see from there. If he doesn't look good in practice tomorrow, he's most likely not going to be on the road trip. But it's really starting to show that they are missing Ellis and Kevin Hayes. You're missing your top defenseman and your second-line center. So that's something there that they need to figure out and learn from. They just need to be better. So that's going to do it for this video, everyone. What are your thoughts on this game? Your thoughts on Carter Hart's performance, just the entire team's performance in general, and just everything. All your thoughts in the comment section below, as always, and I always want to hear those. Definitely do not forget to drop a like on this video. Do not forget to check out the Painted Lines, which I'm a part of. The links are down in the description below. Also, don't forget to check out the links to BrodesMedia, the Florida Pod merch website, and also Flyers Nitty Gritty. All that good stuff is down in the description below. Do not forget to check those out. And like I said at the beginning of the video, the most important thing you can do is hit that sub button. I'll greatly appreciate that, and I will see you next time.